Moin Alabat! And welcome back to another reaction on English today. Oh, I got dizzy.
Mit Grote.
Mit Grote und mit Jan. Today we will talk about who is the parkour goat. Domtomato made a video about the greatest of all time in parkour.
Who is the bestest man ever, man?
Yeah. Before we watch it, give us your top three.
Oh, top three. Okay, yeah, it's an interesting one. Top three off the top of my head. Maybe in no particular order. The first one that comes to mind is Ellis Torval. Yeah, Ellis, because he's just killing it in so many areas, and the area that he's the best in style and new moves. He's every day he wakes up and he tries to beat himself from yesterday. Yeah. Like no one's really pushing him in all these areas, so he's an absolute beast. Other than him, it gets hard. Yeah, it gets really hard. There's so many avenues. There are people. Maybe Yanis Shah, because he's just so dominant in all these unique challenges.
True, a very underrated free runner.
Very underrated,
but yeah, 100%.
It's hard to say. It depends what you do. Like,
exactly.
I'm excited about this video because I might use it as a bit of data to potentially make my own video on who's the greatest. Yeah. But I would break it down into all categories. Yeah. Because you can even consider people like Tim Champion. Like, he's not maybe all round amazing at everything, but in in skill comps and in lashes, he's so much better than everyone else. Yeah. That he's so dominant in that.
Yeah, it's
a hard one.
It's very hard to say. I think, though, to get like the title of the all-time GOAT, you need to more or less be the best at everything, at all, like in every, in your period of time.
Yeah, well-rounded. Yeah, so
for me, it also be Daniel Ilabaca, because he was by far the best, back then.
Yeah, exactly.
It was before my time, before I started, so I can't tell in detail, but of course you know about that, like Daniel Ilabaca.
Yeah. And on the Star podcast, they all kind of said him, but also because he was their idol when they started. You know what I mean? It's also about who you look up to the most.
Yeah, 100%.
But Danny, he was more dominant than anyone in his time period, like even than anyone now. Like, he was just levels above in almost everything.
But yeah, okay. So is there anything else for you or anyone else you would mention straight away? Because for me, it'd be Ellis Torval at the moment. Yeah. Like Ellis. At that period of time. And it'd also be Dom for me.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Dom is for good reason probably the most well-known freerunner of all time.
Yeah, Dom's definitely up there, 100%.
He's done shit that no one else can do as well for a long period of time.
And he's pushed the sport. He's pushed the sport more than like almost anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, for sure.
But yeah, we'll see his perspective. Let's have a look.
Who is the greatest parkour athlete of all time? The GOAT. Who is the GOAT of parkour? It's really ineffable. Like most sports, it's hard to nail down specifically who is the greatest of all time. But it recently came up in the Star podcast and they named a bunch of athletes.
That's the podcast you were talking about?
Yes, exactly.
Are you watching every...
I listen to them, yeah.
I haven't listened to any of the podcasts.
You get mentioned quite a lot.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, definitely for Leon. But then other things, you get some mentions now and then.
Oh, sick.
So do I. I get surprised every time.
Really?
It's parkour current affairs. So if you're doing cool stuff in parkour, they mention you. Yeah.
Sick. So what are they're talking about, like recent things, clips and stuff? Or what?
So Callum runs a podcast and he gets guests on, but every month they do a PPP, which is the Parkour Punditry podcast with Benj and Max Cave and Callum, and they talk about current affairs. Sick. So it's like a long version of the movement, you know, like they just talk about all stuff happening in parkour. Mm-hmm. So that's what this is from. And then this one, they ended the podcast with a GOAT debate.
Okay. Yeah, fucking sick. I have to listen to it.
People that would be on our GOAT list: David Belle, Daniel Ilabaca, Oleg Vorslav, Phil Doyle, Domtomato, maybe.
I feel like he's entering stage.
GOAT from the amount.
In 5 years' time, he will definitely be on that list for sure.
Just to be mentioned
it's also like they're saying in 5 years' time, because people look back on it and sometimes you can only realize how good they were in hindsight. Yeah. When you look back, like, oh, no one was doing that back then.
Yeah. That name of incredible athletes who were so influential for me growing up is really humbling, and I feel validated. But I don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about the other athletes who I think are the greatest and really just showcase who they were and what they're about. And we're going to start with the creator, the god, the man we all aspire to be, David Belle.
It's so good.
He is technically the creator of the sport, and he was an absolute machine and still is to this day, practicing at a very...
Professor Tomato with his laptop there on the black casting couch. Yeah, amazing.
The production is so goofy. I love it. And when he cuts to the other angle, it's like too high. It's like looking down on him. Like they're all above eye level, the angles. I love it.
Definitely the content creator goat of all time.
100%. It's so good.
Very high level of intensity. Speed airman.
I always feel bad talking like this about other people, but about Dom, it's funny. It's not a problem at all.
Yeah. He always admits it. In fact, it's way better than his old vlogs. His old vlogs,
100%.
He was proud of how shit the production was. But look at this. They've got the little like tomato in the corner.
It's the reaction cam.
Yeah, it's sick.
It's sick. Nah, it's also because Dom really knows how to handle that humor, and he does it the same way.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, it's a very Australian thing to take the piss out of other people, to make fun of people. Yeah.
This is a video of his that's from, I believe, shot in the late 90s, early 2000s. And yeah, he was so mentally strong. He could do challenges that people hadn't ever tried before and just had this tenacity to the way he moved. It's really animalistic, and I think he took a lot of inspiration from...
I've never
to this day, that's insane. Yeah. We've been there. Climbing on that side is insane.
Yeah.
That's,
anime characters like Super Saiyan from Dragon Ball Z. But yeah, just watching him move, he's so strong. There's actually an urban legend about the spot Dum Du Lac that one time after he experienced a very personal tragedy, he was dropping from the top of the Dum Du Lac all the way down to the center little hub that you saw him jumping just before. So he's jumping from the top to this hub that he's landing on now, and then to the floor on repeat. So that's like a 5.5 meter drop into a 6 meter drop onto pebbles. Yeah, if that's true, the level of physicality required, I don't care about the emotional state as much. Well, I do care about his emotional state, but I don't care about the emotional state when it comes to the incredibleness of him achieving that feat. It's an urban legend. I can't confirm.
That's so high as well, the backflip he just did.
There's a sick other video of David Belle.
This is such a high backflip.
Yeah.
It's an urban legend. I can't confirm or deny if it is actually true.
There's another video of David Belle doing an interview with a reporter, and he gets up on a roof while doing the interview and backflips off like a 3 meter roof and just stomps it and walks away. It's so funny.
Oh, the Tic Tacs, man. He really paved the way for so many athletes, and I mean all of us really. Him and his friends. I love that. I mean, back in the day, we just had a tendency that if you could make the jump, do it with like running air forms, because that's kind of the thing you would see with Jackie Chan in the films, and just seeing David Belle do it now, which would be considered cheesy, is kind of funny. But yeah, this set of movements coming up, 360 lock arm grab, and the Tic Tac off the rail clear into a 3-4 meter drop. Speed air man. Yeah, the man is for sure stapled as one of the greatest of all time, but he's also the pioneer of the sport. One of the athletes that I think went underrated during this time is someone who was in a movie with...
It's funny because I obviously know David Belle, and I know that he's the founder of parkour, but it's also the same with Daniel Ilabaca and stuff. I know the names. I know like some clips of David. I basically only know his manpower jump because I didn't grow up with these boys.
Yeah.
Like,
did you meet them ever?
I think I saw Daniel Ilabaca on a jam maybe once. David Belle I've never seen. But it's like, for me, it's honestly like this generation, like Dom, Jason Paul, they're the goats for me, because I've only been training for 11 years and I didn't watch parkour for like a long time before that as well. So
they built the sport as we know it, because it was before it was a different sport. Like David Belle used to do like 1,000 push-ups every day and like squats and all the like on the floor, like all this crazy old school conditioning, and they were totally inspired by like Dragon Ball and just trying to be like super strong and fit. Whereas now it's very different sport. That's funny though. My mom's friends with David Belle, you know.
Yeah, you told me.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
David Belle. He didn't come from a parkour background as much as stunts and gymnastics, but I personally think that Cyril Raffaeli is one of the GOATs of parkour of all time.
Who's that guy? Do you know him?
No.
GOATs of parkour of all time.
Have you ever seen this guy?
What a head.
Cyril Raffaeli.
Looks like a porn star.
yeah. What's the John Sins?
Yeah, Johnny Sins, yeah.
He was doing things light years ahead of the free running game. People talk about flip precisions and how they came about in like 2010, 2000 and whenever. They didn't. He was doing like flip precisions to little blocks, stairs, all sorts of different stuff. He just had this awareness and outdoor sendability that was remarkable. And the form in which he did everything was like perfect, textbook. Something like you see with like Tim Champion or Ed Scott, just this unreal awareness for their body. I love this as well. Boom. You don't see Barani half roll out, or like the way that it was done is just, yeah, it's still 1 in a million. Still 1 in a million to this day. And sorry the clips are 240p, but that is all the video I could get of this man doing incredible things. But I think because he came from a different background, the parkour community didn't embrace him as one of the GOATs, or wouldn't consider him to be textbook one of the parkour greatest of all time. But I think he's influenced many people like Damian Walters, and even if you look at his style, it's very...
Damian Walters, man.
Yeah.
The legend.
Absolute legend.
He's an absolute legend.
Flip heavy, which is similar to people who are considered some of the greats now. It translates to an impact or a wider vision that he had for parkour. And there's something so timeless about quick flick-flacks and tumbling. But just the landings and the pop, everything's done standing upright. There's no hunch, there's no, missteps. He's so good. Yeah. And like the style is rudimentary. Oh!
What?
Can you do it? Can you do it?
Back to front?
Yeah.
No way.
No.
I mean, if I really tried, maybe.
But you'd break your ankles nowadays.
Probably, yeah.
It's like the most ankle
extension,
you're right. Or what do you say?
Yeah.
It's...
I really, I would break my ankles for sure. Yeah.
The back to front there, oh, that is just so nice the way he lands, completely upright. Yes. That era was so influential for so many athletes. In the next generation, there is one athlete, the GOAT of GOATs. I think, inarguably, if you started parkour in the early 2000s, this man is considered to be the GOAT, and that is Daniel Ilabaca. He is the Jesus of parkour. He is our Holy Father. He just understood movement on a fundamental level like we'd never seen before. He was the inventor of the Congainer here that you see. And
it's fucking perfect.
You know, Congainer is a banned gymnastics move. They banned it for being too dangerous. It was in gymnastics years ago.
Really?
Yeah. And they said, no, you hit your head, we don't do it.
He could just physically achieve things at a higher consistency and level and variety than any other athlete at the time. I know that the Story guys mentioned Ben Jenks, they mentioned Philly D. And I agree that these are some of the greats, but to be in the era of the greatest of all time, they really didn't feel like they stepped up in the same overarching sense. Yeah. Danny come from
but I think it's true, because if you like, nowadays people talk a lot about legends and stuff like this and the greatest of all time and shit, and I think that the word doesn't lose value. It's important to mention that, because
I agree.
You can't say he's the GOAT, then it doesn't make any sense. It can only be 1 or 2 people that are like, you know.
Yeah, 100%. And people throw that word around way too much now. Yeah. I was just laughing because he's just trying to he's searching for a nice way to say that no one was stepping to Danny, bro. No. That they're just not on his level, you know? Like, Philly D is amazing in like his specific things, you know what I mean? That's it. But Danny was good at everything, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just trying to be polite about it, which I find really funny. Because he's friends with all of them.
Yeah. True. Do you know that Daniel Ilabaca trained in Essen? Like, he's got clips from Essen.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
And spots, they're not even spots.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Sick.
am Kolosseum und am Cinemax hinten drin.
Cinemax, Alter.
Ja.
Oh, sick.
Krank, ne?
Krank.
A bit longer training background, only a couple of years, but he always seemed to be the one that was the pinnacle. They almost, Phil and Jenks were almost like his disciples in a way, if we want to put it back to the
chat says, like it is in football, it's Messi and Ronaldo that are the GOATs of this generation.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I don't know, who else is there?
Havertz.
Yeah, but it's
or
true.
the Bellingham, like he's good, you know.
Yeah, they are the new generation. They might become the GOATs of this generation, but there is
for them,
Ronaldo and Messi and none of the others that like come along with
it. But you can, in football as well, with strikers, you can put real statistics to it. You know, it's a bit easier. In like a lot of conventional sports, you can put numbers to it and be like, statistically, they are the best.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
It's impossible in parkour, more or less.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah. Cause it's interesting. For us, it's very clear, but for people that don't really do parkour,
yeah, for sure.
Parkour is like the big term of the sport, and then there's so many branches of the sport. Like you can do parkour that way, and it's almost like a different sport.
Yeah, and people don't understand that. Like even when I make the video on the 5 biggest running jumps, I have people commenting, why wasn't the Leon 25 front flip in the video? But it's a completely separate thing. But people don't understand all the different like variations of the sport and things. Yeah.
Parkour Jesus adage. And yet the lightness and the touch and the style with all of his movements. I personally took so much influence from Danny. I think I really wanted to be him all the way down to the hairstyle that I've now chosen to live my adult life with. He really did size and capacity things that I hadn't seen before. Like jumping to a sand pile was just something I'd never thought about using as a way to elevate my training, and he really could do it all. He was in MTV's Ultimate Parkour Challenge with Ben Jenks, and it really looked like, though Jenks deserved the win, Danny took his foot off the accelerator because he was someone who never liked the Hollywood machine. He didn't want to be a famous free runner. He loved movement and he wanted to work with the scene.
That's Essen. That's the clip from Essen.
Yeah? Free runner. He loved movement. And
here is Subway now.
Wow.
Yes, this is a Cinemax.
Yeah, that's German in the corner, yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Here is on the right side, Max, is Subway now. Here, where Dom's frame is Cinemax.
Why was he in Essen?
Bro, because Essen is the parkour capital of Europe.
After Cologne.
After Cologne. Yeah. Alter Lachs, big up Daniel Ilabaca.
Oh, great. I cannot believe he was in
Essen. He is
in
Essen, bro. Yeah. I think I've trained at that spot once. You can use it as a spot, but it's like you need a lot of imagination, will.
To be the greatest of all time.
Yeah, exactly.
He wanted to work with the scene, and I think every time he did work in the professional industry, it kind of sucked a bit of his soul from him. It felt like every time we go to a jam, he would start moving and everyone would just stop and watch. And I love that. I'm like, oh, look at me, I'm the center of attention. But I think for someone who's more humble and comes from more of a modest upbringing like Danny, he didn't enjoy that. He wanted to be a part of the community and part of everyone. And I think in a way,
we can both say we more like definitely see Dom's way.
Yeah, it depends on the movement. But if it's a Mazzoline like running thing, you get people watching, it's okay.
Yeah.
We're both performers.
And it's also because when we want to do a big thing, we like get really, really loud. And come on! Countdown, everyone! Send it! And all the boys are just getting involved, typing you up, so everyone's around on a jam knows, you're going, no one else is allowed.
Some people think we're so stupid for doing that because they're skilled enough to do it really calm. But fuck them.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Fuck the skilled
ones. Fuck the skilled people. Yeah. I agree.
We almost, as a community, transcended Danny from parkour by just idolizing him so much. And sometimes you just want to be treated like a person out there. You just want to be one of the guys. I think I find it really easy to stay relatable to the younger athletes and enjoy parkour on a more moderate level because I just don't worry if people are watching or not. It's a skill you have to learn though when that becomes prevalent in your training. I think after that, Danny reigned supreme for 2007 to 2011, 2012. He was untouchable, and that's why to have that GOAT status for such a long time is why he's the GOAT of GOATs. The greatest of all time, as we say. But it took years.
I love the production. 2007, 2012, like it's so good.
For someone else to kind of pave out such an incredible notoriety, awareness, and forward-thinkingness for movement and the scene. And I personally think the next GOAT on the list is actually Fosky.
I agree.
That's interesting.
I know, I actually agree with that. I forgot, but there was a time when I think Fosky was the best. For like 3 years or something, I think he was the best in the world.
Really?
When I moved to Sydney and we'd always talk about it. Yeah.
Also for me, it's the first athlete I know and I've seen clips of. I remember his out of motion submission at like in 1 year, which was mind blowing, and like his baggy style, his flow style, it really
I think that was 2016, unique. His AOM submission?
Maybe.
He got in with that one.
I started in 2014.
Okay. Yeah.
When did you start?
Oh, how old am I? I'm 26, so I started when I was 14, so 12 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
14, I guess.
Yeah, sick.
No,
2012, yeah, okay.
I don't math. Yeah.
Pedro Gomez from Galicia in Spain, España. He personified flow. There's no other athlete that you put in the same bracket as flow like you do.
Yeah, that's the clips of the submission. Yeah.
But it wasn't just flow. He did massive shit as well. Like that's the thing.
His impact on so many people will still resonate through training today. And I love this video in particular. On that note, I don't think the videos really encapsulate how great these people were. They're kind of just giving you context to who they were and how they moved. And, you know, if you really take into account what they were doing in the era that they were doing, it really is just ahead of its time. There's just no pauses. There's no, it's so light as well. 1, 2, 1, 2. His pacing and his steps and the way he can accelerate and decelerate on cue where it's required for the run just really is unmatched. I mean, we've seen few athletes who can really step to that level of flow in general, but nobody makes it look like Fosky does. And this was for a Red Bull run, and seeing him do double side to double cork and a little trick out is just, it's not what you would commonly see him do. So to see him broaden his skill set and really flex on those moves in one line is just pinnacle Fosky. He could just do it all.
No one ever took over his mantle as well, like as flow king. Like he's still the flow king. So now the flow stuff, people don't do it like this so much. It's more about like the Kevin Franzens and like Matt McCreary's and the creative like dancing style. But he's always certified as the flow goat. No one has taken over that from him. And maybe they never will. You know what I mean? People don't even use the baggy sweatpants anymore so much. Like he almost finished an era of movement as the best at it. And then things changed.
True. Yeah, I was trying to think about someone, but it's there's no one coming to mind quickly. So
that's on his like level with the flow. Yeah.
Little knee slide. Yeah, making a knee slide look cool is really hard too, and he just smashes it. Absolutely smashes it.
It's sick. Yeah. Looks sick.
He was the
iconic line. Boom, boom, boom.
Manpower front as well.
Oh yeah.
Kevin Fleury #1, and then him.
Yeah.
I've actually gone to that spot and tried that very line, the double Kong Webster over, and mate, it is so much more difficult than he makes it look. He makes it look like breathing, but it's the spacing is really awkward, and the double Kong to begin is way bigger than it looks in the video. And we're finished with manpower front. Fosky was the second person ever to front flip manpower, and at the time I was a little bit jealous because I felt like skill wise I could do it, but I was on the other side of the world. But within months I also did the front flip, and it was nice to have that bond and that unity when I finally met Fosky, like something we'd both done that we could goss over and talk about parkour. I actually think that there's a lot of other athletes skill-wise that really belong in the GOAT bracket, but there's so much more that goes into being one of the greatest, in my opinion. It's about the impact you have on the scene, the way you innovate and cultivate a style or a faction of movement, and just the general reputation and level of skill that you possess puts you there. For example, I think Bob Reese is one of the greatest of all time. Skill number of, I'm saying this badly, but the number of skills that Bob Reese possesses is unmatched.
It's true.
But I don't think he has made enough of an impact in the global community to get in.
Yeah. And he's a fucking weirdo. Yeah, but he is like definitely one of the most skilled people ever.
Yeah, he's done so many tricks that no one else has even thought about. It's his list of tricks that only he's done is so long.
And he's the most ambidextrous athlete in the sport.
What the fuck is ambidextrous?
So you can do things on both sides.
Yeah.
He does really hard tricks on both sides.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting that I would have never thought about Bob Reese in this video, but it is true.
It is true, yeah.
Into that bracket. Does that make sense? I'm probably butchering it, but you know, I'm just wanting to give you guys context as to why more people are not named and why I'm keeping this list quite select. I would say that I took the...
If Bob had the mindset of Ellis, like he could probably be that good.
Yeah,
that's
100%.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. He can do all the tricks easily in the gym, so he could do it outside as well, and like...
Yeah.
If he had the ambitions to be one of the GOATs,
he probably could.
He could.
And the thing is, like, when he comes to doing things outside, he does do them. Like, he's not like, his confidence isn't crap. Like, he does do hard tricks outside sometimes. Just mostly he can't be fucked. Or he can't be bothered, right? But yeah, he could. But
it's also because there are no trampolines outside.
The torch from Foskey for a couple of months there, but then the younger generation, by the time I got to being very great, they're also really great. And this leads me to the current era greatest of all time, who I consider to be revolutionary, and a lot of people have said over the past few years is the GOAT. I would consider him, years ago, he was the greatest of all time in his gym. But now I would say he is definitely one of the GOATs, period.
Yeah! Nah, yeah, 100%. He's been the greatest gym free runner of all time already.
Yeah.
And now he is, as he said, the greatest in general.
But he actually has, even for his skill, he has one of the strongest mental games I've ever seen, like outside. He's such a big sender. When we were in BESTEN recently, he was sending a move no one's ever done to his face like 5 times.
Really? What was it?
It was the... fuck, bro. Like, it's like...
it's something like, you can't even...
Yeah. He does like a 180 handstand like gainer thing.
Double.
Double, Bro,
it's crazy.
I can't even name most of the moves. I was training with him a lot, and he's like, "Oh, come train." He's doing the most insane tricks that I'm doing, like side full. Like, yes, it's insane to train with him. But he's sick, and every day he wakes up and he goes to destroy. Like, he's always really upset if he doesn't do the absolute hardest thing he can do.
Yeah.
Like, he's so ambitious. He's 20 now, I think. Just turned 20.
Is he?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I think he just turned 20. Yeah. Beast.
Yeah, it's insane. He's got like 100% talent, 100% will, and 100% ambition.
Yeah.
Like, he's got it all.
He's got it all. And he's got his dad runs an amazing gym. Yeah. So he really has it all. Yeah. Beast.
I really hope that he's not like getting seriously injured at some point, or like because he started training so hard, so young, that his body is done like in very early stages.
He has the same knee issue that I had and kind of have. So he lives sometimes for it. But other than that, like, he seems all right. Yeah.
But also, even if he gets like an injury caused by too much training in young ages, I think he's so ambitious and motivated and gives up his whole life for the sport. He somehow managed to like still go out, train, and be the best he can. Like, there are always ways to do that.
He's also one of the only athletes that makes most of his money from prize money from competitions. Like, he has some other things, but that's most of it. Yeah.
He's one of the very, very few parkour athletes that could consider themselves a pure parkour athlete.
Yeah, like a professional, competitive parkour athlete.
He's making money from parkour.
Yeah, from competitive parkour. Yeah. Because making money from parkour, there's a lot of ways you can put it, right? But as a competitor, he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there are different ways, but most of the ways to make money from parkour is like from coaching, from owning a gym, or from content. Yeah. Like, so, and that I wouldn't call people like that, like a pure professional parkour athlete, because anyone could coach and anyone could make parkour content without being top level, you know.
I tried to make that argument with Dom, and he got really angry at me when he was in Essen.
Really?
Because I was saying something about like Ellis or someone being like purely like professional parkour athlete because he doesn't have to do all this other stuff. And Dom got really offended because he's like, oh, I can do that, I just do the content as well. It's like, yeah, fair enough.
No, I think, but I would consider Dom one of these athletes as well, because he's sponsored by Red Bull, and he's like, he gets paid to just train,
and then he does the content
and put out videos. Like, of course, that's how parkour lives, and that's like that is parkour, to put out your clips on Instagram or wherever. But I think he makes a good point. He doesn't have to do the YouTube stuff. Exactly.
Like, he chooses to.
That's also a difference between, for example, Dom and me. I like Dom could only go out, train, gets the money from Red Bull because he's sponsored for the sport.
Just for
clips. Whereas, for example, me, I couldn't do that. I have to do the YouTube and entertaining stuff to like train parkour probably professionally. But and there's like so many more people that have the same thing, I think. I'd say
it's true. No, it's a good point.
Probably also the stores, like
definitely.
Their content is only parkour. I mean, the Schlappen content is entertainment and shit, but store is purely parkour.
Well,
so
mostly they a little bit less, but a lot of it is because of their personality. Like, people watch a story video like they watch a Schlappen video to spend a day with the boys, you know what I mean? That's kind of what it is. You come for the stunts, but then you stay just for the vibes and for like the personal connection you get through the screen. It's like a weird thing, but
but so Ellis is definitely like
unbelievable.
Oh, by the way, if you're enjoying any of these videos about parkour, I'd love for you to subscribe, because I'm really, really far away from 1 million. I still think he has so much more to do with parkour and free running, and he will elevate the scene, but that is Ellis Torval. He's just a freak, man. We've never seen anyone of this capacity in that overarching sense. His, just like trick capacity, and then also competition status, the consistency in which he can perform, and the kind of transformation he's gone through from being this gym kid with an incredible amount of skill to bringing it all outside. A lot of athletes can't make that translation, and the fact that he has just staples him as one of the greats, in my opinion. And I think there's so much more you're going to see from Ellis, but he is by far the current GOAT, in my opinion. There's only one man that I think can step to him, and it will be something for us to keep our eyes on as a scene over the next few years. And that man is Travis Verky.
That is interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's such different styles. But Travis is almost like Giannis, but maybe even better now in terms of just single insane challenges. Yeah,
it's interesting. I wouldn't have considered him at all to be on that list, but it makes sense because he is like one of the best at the moment.
And in the biggest sort of competition in parkour, which is sick Instagram clips, he drops like the sickest clips a lot of the time. You know what I mean? Like single sick, amazing.
And also, he's saving up his best clips for over a year already.
Yeah, that's he says he's got about halfway through the video so far, so he's gonna probably do another year. But yeah,
crazy.
Because Verky has the street style and the authentic kind of old school flavor that really resonates with a wider audience. Not in the niche of parkour per se, but his mentality, his physicality really just shines through and has been in the last couple of years. Like, look at this double Kong here in the rain, or this Kong pre here in the rain. Like, he hadn't been training for months. He'd just come back from an ankle injury, and he just smashes out these world-class challenges. And then when I was speaking to him, wasn't happy, was like, I need to do more, I'm not happy with where my level is, blah, 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 which is a clear sign of someone who's thinking about achieving their best status. And that's what really stands out to me about all of these athletes, is the hunger, the want or the yearn to be great or to be successful or to do something more than the norm. And when I train or have trained with any of these athletes, it's been clear to me that these are greatness. They possess greatness, and it's intoxicating to be around. It's intoxicating to watch. I get excited just watching them here on video, even though I've seen a lot of these clips before, it still gets me welled up, excited. I love it. Yeah, this probably is like showing you how much of a nerd I really am about parkour, and how much, like, I haven't really even been reacting to the videos. I've just been gushing about my favorite athletes of all time and why you should care about them. And I noticed that there isn't any Americans on the list. That's not to say that America hasn't got its own GOAT. And this man is just, he's a professor. He's a surgeon of movement. He's so precise and has been since like 5-6 years of training. And that man is the great late, well, no, not late, that's terrible to say. The great Nate Weston.
Yeah, definitely. He's US GOAT. Yeah.
USA GOAT of all time.
What is this?
USA GOAT of all time. That just shows you he has so much control. He was doing the flip precisions to rails and all other sorts of really intricate, difficult movements years before they were common exchange, common currency in parkour. They just, to me, he's been so good for so long. I don't even know how to go on and on about Nate, because there's just been so many things that he's done that really radiate to the global community, and really, he's also just a lovely, lovely person. And I think that is a big thing in parkour. If in a social community where judging is subjective, personality carries weight. You have to be a nice human to succeed, and we often see anyone who is a jerk who comes into parkour just get dejected from the scene. They don't last, because if you're not in it for the movement and the culture and the sport, then you're really gonna find yourself not getting anything back from parkour. It's not a reward-based system on anything material. It's very arbitrary.
Don't be an asshole. Don't be Kai Willis. Yeah, best sense. He's famous for being an asshole. Yeah.
Yeah, just I can't get enough of watching Nate move.
He's getting so emotional talking about Nate. It's funny.
But he's so bad at actually explaining it, at least for Nate. But
I think it's good because he's so emotional.
Yeah, it's sick. But we understand why Nate is so good. I don't know if everyone will understand from that. But yeah. He is a legend.
It's always something new, something exciting. And this last run here where he's coming down the cheek gainer across onto the bus stop is, a beautiful showcase of skill and movement across the board. And finally, I want to talk about who I consider to be the greatest female athlete of parkour of all time. Aleksandra
Sheva.
Probably Sheva. Yeah, because it's like from back in the day. She was so dominant. But there's Lucy Romberg was sick, but then also Sheva. Because there's now the current generation. It might be Lilu, but a big one hasn't emerged yet. You know what I mean? I think the best now is probably Lilu, but we don't have like it's not as clear as Ellis. You know what I mean?
It's not. I think Lilu is like by far
the most skilled,
the best female athlete.
Yeah, she is. But I still don't think she has like as many mind-blowing like achievements yet.
Maybe
she's by far the most skilled. Like I would be comfortable saying she's the go, but she's still like not like dominant everywhere. And then she's not like winning all the comps, and you know what I mean. Like the most dominant female athlete by far is Miranda. Like she beats all the women in speed by like 6 seconds. You know what I mean? But that's just in speed comps.
Yeah, it's speed comps.
So it's different. Yeah.
Well, Sheva I absolutely butchered her name. She's gonna kill me for that. Sheva was a originally high-level gymnast, but she made her transition to parkour and really made a staple in free running that is next to none. This video of hers, Venice to Vegas, it's just the coolest
iconic move.
Iconic move mix I've seen of kind of gymnast style or a bit more like flexibility and creativity added into the movement. And Sheva was also pinnacle in creating some of your favorite athletes like Shade, Pasha, Archie. I would say that their relationship...
Yeah, there's a reason for that, but anyway. That was a bit... Oh, Dom.
It only strengthened the ability, skill, and drive of the athletes. Well. She
was she with Pasha?
Yeah, she was with all of them.
Yeah.
For like long periods of time.
Madness.
Yeah. Like
she's an incredible partner and coach, and has achieved so much physically that it's hard to even fathom how good she is at parkour. And she's so humble as well and wouldn't go on and on about it, but she's beaten me in many competitions. Me and her have competed against each other, and without any gender split, she's beat me hands down. Points across the board.
She's a really cool person.
She's that good. And she never made free running feel like me that there was any separation of gender. She was just in it the same way that we're all in it, to do movement, to elevate. And I think she gave an example for a lot of younger female athletes who wanted to feel cool and feel, you know, still effeminate while doing parkour.
This is so sick, yeah.
Oh, the split backflip, man.
That's the one I always remember.
It's so cool. It took me like 7 or 8 years to even try it after seeing that, because it's just so innovative. And I think that again speaks to why I think she's one of the greatest of all time. It is about how ahead of the time and pinnacle they were as an athlete during their era. So now that I've gushed to you about parkour athletes for however long this has been, I want you to watch this next video about parkour. Tell me who you think the greatest of all time is in the comments below. And of course, say hi to your mum for me.
He still says that. You know what I realized? Why I find it so funny? Because he has 2 camera angles, but when he changes camera angles, he looks at the other camera.
Yeah.
And then he looks back.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's so off-putting. I love it though. It's a sick video though.
Yeah, very sick video.
Yeah.
So as always, go subscribe, Domtomato. He wants to get 1 million, and he's very far away from it. So help him. Geile Ding. Domtomato oder was?
Yeah. I was just reading the top comment. This is like Usain Bolt asking who's the fastest sprinter. Zack.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's gassing him up.
The goat is you.
Yeah.
Toby Seeger. Joe.
Janschlappen, Junge!
Ja! Janschlappen oder was? Now aber mal the Hauptcomment hier machen oder was? The most liked one.
Ja.
Zack!
Oh, Männers.
Komm, jetzt aber mal schön hier alle wegliken, that Ding.
Ja.
Interesting. Very interesting video. Thanks for the video, Dom. Go subscribe and say hi to his mom from me.
Say